Bitcoin losing some steam. Are we heading back down below 90,000? You can see here on the Bitcoin chart, after a strong week last week, we're starting to see a little bit of a weakening off. We're struggling to break resistance around that 98K mark. We've been rejected down back below 94K. Is this move over? Are bears taking control? We've got loads to get into today. If you appreciate this type of content, smash up the likes. Do not forget to subscribe. I was in Dubai for Token 2049. The ecosystem is alive. Crypto is alive. Everybody, the talk of the town is crypto. Everybody wants to get into crypto. Everybody wants to make money in crypto, and they understand that this is the industry to take them forward. That being said, Bitcoin facing a few challenges. We're heading into an FOMC week, right? 2 days until the FOMC meeting. We'll cover that off in a bit of a preview in this video as well. Please, guys, if you're looking to trade, check out FOMC. Those are the platforms I'm using currently. FOMC, great exchange for trading. Check it out. This is one of those exchanges. I mean, you guys don't need me to tell you. There's a million exchanges right now. Many of them have just spun up. Many of them are very, very sketchy. Be very, very careful. FOMC is an exchange I've seen around since I started making crypto videos back in the day. So this is one of those platforms that's been there, seen it, done it. If you're interested, check it out. Link is in the description. That is an affiliate link which supports the channel. What happened here on Bitcoin, right? If you look at this 4-hourly chart, we're in this long-term downtrend from the start, mid of Jan, and we managed to break it out. Perfect. Now, when you get these breakouts, you want to look to the left for your pivot point. And we've hit this pivot point, right? If you look at this pivot point around the 95 level, we broke through that. The next pivot point further up, which we kind of struggled with, is that 99.5K level. And then, of course, working your way to the top of the breakout, the new all-time high around that 110K level. So we're still in a breakout, right? We're still in what's a nice break of trend. We broke out and we're starting to work our way up. Now, does this mean we're not going to pull back? No, we could need to pull back. And where is the natural obvious place to pull back to? The previous pivot point. So if we take a line here, this would be your previous pivot point around the 88K level mark if Bitcoin needs to recollect some momentum before heading higher. So that's what I'm watching out for here on Bitcoin, is do we need to see that? Now, if we then zoom out and start looking at what's going on from a longer time frame perspective, let's take a look at the daily chart and let's bring out our trusted friend, the EMA ribbon. If you guys aren't familiar with the EMA ribbon, then definitely check out my TA course where I teach you all the indicators. I'll leave the link in the description. We've had 3 red days, right? 3 red days, of which, to be honest, were weekend days, and Monday's a bank holiday in the UK. I don't know if it's a bank holiday in the States, but these are low volume days. I mean, you can see the volume candles, they're non-existent here. So I'm not too concerned by that. To add on to that, the fact that we have the FOMC meeting coming up in 2 days' time, right? The market, of course, is not expecting a rate cut. 98% of the market, it's pretty much unanimous here, is expecting a pause. They don't expect Jerome Powell to come out and surprise the market. They're expecting that pause. Okay, so, bar a real surprise, I don't see any huge upside for us to be had. What we do need to focus on is Jerome Powell when he gives us the press conference to see if he gives us any positive direction, right? Any comments around the inflation caused due to tariffs being transitory and the fact that it's not as bad as expected, or that the economy is healthy because the jobs figures were healthy, things like that will help buoy the market, and ultimately that's what we want, right? Already the EMA ribbon is in a bullish setup, right? If we go back to the 20th of April, so just about 15 days ago, we managed to close above our EMA ribbon, right? And we managed to break above it, and we managed to flip the trend. The EMA ribbon a couple of days later flippened, right? So the yellow lines cross the red lines, which show we're now in a bullish trend. And normally this would set up a nice stretching movement, but we may need to touch base here. Right, it may need to touch base at 92. It may even need to go a little bit lower and touch base at 89, 88, which is exactly what I just shared with you, would be the previous pivot point, right? There's support around this level at that 88, 89 level. So I wouldn't mind, if it wants to come down this level, buy the dip, and then I'll be looking for a strong bounce. Of course, we need the data to back it up, right? We need the market in terms of the FOMC meeting and Jerome Powell to back that up. So Wednesday is that FOMC meeting, and particularly the press conference is what we're going to focus on. Later in the week, you get some initial jobless claims. And of course, on Friday, you got a bunch of Fed officials speaking, Fed Cougar, Fed Goolsbee, Fed Waller. Of course, they can move the market, particularly when you got 6, 7 of them speaking in a day like we do on Friday. Just be careful when you're opening up trades. I know a lot of you guys who are trading, sometimes have a perfect trade setup, right? You've got yourself your symmetrical triangle, you've got yourself your inverse head and shoulders, which is fantastic. Just make sure you check the news. Just make sure you check the news that there's not an FOMC meeting, there's not a Fed official speaking, there's not Trump tweeting something which affects you and messes up your trade. So I see a lot of newer traders making that mistake. If you're one of those, then please just make sure you give the news a quick glance, right? Give it a quick glance. Make sure you're not trading into anything glaringly obvious like, Apple's earnings or Netflix earnings or, one of these bigger companies, Amazon or Microsoft. Just don't do that. Just try to stay away from those trends. Otherwise, feel free to jump in your trades. That's how I do it. Now, if you actively want to see when I trade, the timing of how I trade, how I do my TA and the rest of it, you can do so in my Telegram, okay? ijazcrypto.com/TG. Again, I'll leave that link in the description for you guys if you're interested in actively trading with me. Again, I trade altcoins. I do it spot. I do long only. I don't even short the market, and I'm making regular returns in this market. So if you guys want to learn how to do so, again, I've been trading for a very long time, guys. I've traded at investment bank. I've been there, seen it, done it. I share everything. I share my stop losses. I share my wins. I share my losses. You see all of that. Link will be in the description. So for me here, when I look at the Bitcoin chart, I still feel quite confident, to be honest. And I'm just going to zoom out and show you the weekly chart with our good friend, the EMA ribbon. And let's just look at this chart. This is the chart that everybody's worried about. What a beautiful, beautiful chart, right? Move, retest, move, retest, start of a move. Now, the start of this move may need a little bit of a calling off, but if we get a little bit of a calling off, remember, this would just be a triangle, right? I'm just going to draw over this, but this would just be a triangle. I hope that makes sense for you guys. If we want to come down here, this will just be a triangle, which of course we have a high probability of breaking to the upside when we're in such a heavy uptrend. So I'm not too concerned if Bitcoin wants to stall. In fact, I expect it to stall for these couple of days. I mean, last week we had a 10% week. So for us to have the next candle at 0.5 and just consolidate where we're at, I'll take that. That's pretty good, right? This is a pretty good station to be at to decide, are we bullish enough to break through 110? Do I expect us to just go and smash through 110 when there's still some tariff uncertainty? We still don't know where we stand? No, I think that would be naive. But the fact that Bitcoin is sitting here at 94K shows huge, tremendous strength. Now, there are certain altcoins which you're starting to see, show some relative strength, which is interesting. I think markets are trying to position themselves in really solid projects, which, again, if you want me to do a deep dive into which are my favorite altcoins right now, comment below in capitals altcoins, and I'll do a special altcoin video tomorrow for you guys if you're interested. But you're starting to see certain ones move. I mean, Sui had their unlock. You're seeing that moving up 4.1%, which is interesting. You're seeing a few other coins like Walrus moving. You're seeing Core move as well. Four is moving as well. IP up 2.4%. But other than that, please do understand. I mean, I'm starting to see, people get frustrated that the altcoins aren't moving. I just want to be real with you guys. There's no chance of your altcoins going ballistic just yet. Be patient. When market rotates risk on and the stock market is booming and the Nasdaq is booming and money is being printed and your M2 money supply starts printing like they always print, right? This is where we're at on the M2 money supply. Yes, it's inflected up, but guess what? When they really start doing this kind of action here, that's when we're really going to benefit. Okay, let me just put this here. Let me see if I can zoom this out. This is what happens when they truly print. This is the inflection point we have here. Right, it's nice. We'll enjoy that inflection point. That inflection point has been enough for us to see a record high on Bitcoin at 110. But I'm just waiting for them to do some serious damage in their printing when they actually start printing. And for me, that's when crypto is going to move heavens and earth, when it really starts pumping to the upside, right? So, yes, you can be frustrated that your altcoins are not moving. I know most people watching these videos and just typically in the retail crypto space don't tend to have enough Bitcoin, right? They don't tend to have enough of these stronger plays. They really start to suffer because they don't have Bitcoin anchoring their portfolio. So when you've got dominance, Bitcoin dominance at a 4-year high doing something like this, which again, we knew, right? I made multiple videos, in fact, on this, dating back to, look at this chart, guys. You can see how I drew it out for you guys. We studied the previous cycle. I said, guys, when we were in this range, I called this breakout and drew this arrow and said, guys, we're going to head up to 60 and potentially even up to 70, which was where we peaked in the previous cycle, was 73 on dominance. So the fact we're sitting at 65 in this dominant situation is no surprise to anybody. You should not be surprised. And even after the last halving in 2020, right? Months after that halving. So the halving happened in May, and it was up to December when you peaked on dominance. Okay, so yes, there's a bit of a delay here where dominance continues to peak, but that's the nature of the business, right? Each cycle will not repeat, but there will be clues, there will be rhyming that goes on, and that's our job. The market cap is more bigger. We're in a situation where there's more maturation in the market, more adoption, bigger players and institutions in Bitcoin. It's naturally going to change how it moves, but there still are clues for us to take in from the previous cycle. And, you know, for those that were just thinking altcoins are going to rip and go crazy when Bitcoin dominance was still sitting, you know, at 50 level, I mean, that was a bit naive, right? Hopefully in hindsight, this has helped you understand that. So Bitcoin dominance, strong, makes complete sense that Bitcoin is behaving like that defensive asset class. But when things start to rotate risk back on, I'm expecting altcoins to move. And my job right now, and, you know, I recommend you guys do this as well, is look for your favorite altcoins. Right? Look at the ones which are showing life. When Bitcoin has that, you know, slight moment of risk on, which ones are fast out of the gate? Which ones are pumping? And those which aren't moving. When there's some positive news and coins are starting to move and some of yours in your bag aren't moving, you need to be realistic. You need to say, why am I holding this? I need to cut my losses on this, because when the market starts to pop off, you're not going to have second chances. The ones you hold are the ones you hold. And if you're holding dead ducks at that point, you're setting yourself for failure when you're going to finally miss that altcoin season, which everybody has been waiting for. Big week this week, guys. FOMC week. I will be covering off all that content with you. Make sure you're subscribed. If you actively want to trade with me, FOMX, links in the description. Get yourself some amazing bonuses. If you want cheaper access to my Telegram community, you will do so by setting yourself up a FOMX account, which costs you nothing. So set that up, jump into my Telegram, and get trading. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.